If the government fails to arrest Asiya Andrabi by tomorrow, they will be compromising the security of this country. On the Newshour Debate 1 tonight, Mufti Nasir-ul-Islam, the Deputy Grand Mufti from Srinagar, Pirzada Mohd Amin Shah, Secretary of the Muslim Personal Law Board of J&K, who I hope tonight will end his pro-separatist position and speak for the nation. Abhijit Jasrotia of the PDP, the party which runs the government in Jammu and Kashmir but has neither the guts, the courage nor the will to take on people like Asiya Andrabi. They're actually scared of her, which is unfortunate. Sheshadri Chari, member of the National Executive and Convenor of the Foreign Affairs Cell of the BJP. Sushil Pandit, Kashmiri Activist. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of the Vivekananda International Foundation, and we'll be joined by Lalit Ambardar in some time. Let's begin. But before that, I have something to share with you, gentlemen. Our reporter Imran from Hyderabad has another important breaking news break on the Newshour tonight. He has information that actually consolidates and strengthens our story, and I'd like to share it with all our viewers on top of the show. Imran has information that Asiya Andrabi, as part of her ISIS recruiting racket, had actually traveled to Hyderabad in December last year, where she had meetings with several radicalized elements, as well as separate meetings with all these three ISIS suspects. These suspects are relatives of Simi chief Salahuddin, who passed away last year. Asiya Andrabi, our sources tell Imran, was in Hyderabad for meetings with the Simi chief's family, including these people who have now been trying to go to POK and Syria through her good offices with the Pakistani agents. Imran, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, no, this is a big breaking news that yesterday when the Hyderabad Commissioner of Police released a press release that they, in fact, in their confession, they said that they were planning to go to Kashmir to meet Andrabi and seek her help. A lot of questions were raised. Why Andrabi and why Dukhtarane Millat and what connection they had. Now the sources are clearly confirming that Andrabi went after the death of Syed Salahuddin, is a former Simi president, last year in October 18. She came down to Hyderabad to meet the family of Syed Salahuddin, and she met many other radical elements in the city here. During this period, these three youths also met Andrabi, and that's how they built the connection there, and that's the very crucial evidence what we have. But what the larger question, though, the bigger question is asked, is that there was no intimation on the part of Jammu Kashmir police that she was traveling to Hyderabad. Neither there was any information from the government of India to the Hyderabad police that Andrabi was in Hyderabad, and even worse, even the Hyderabad police has no clue that Andrabi was in Hyderabad, leaving a big question mark on the kind of information we are showing in that. Now the police Special Investigation Team has asked for the police custody of these three youths to interrogate more, get more details. Who are the other elements whom she met here, and what kind of interaction they had, what she had promised, and what the bigger revelation is that these youths were traveling to Kashmir to get in touch with Andrabi and the Hizbul chief to cross over the border to join ISIS stronghold in Syria. That is a big breaking news what we are getting right now.
Well, Imran, thanks very much. Now let's go straight to the debate. And joining us on the debate this evening, I've already introduced the guests. First question goes to Mufti Nasir-ul-Islam. You have an ISIS agent in your midst. Mufti Nasir-ul-Islam. Put her in lockup. Lead a protest march on the streets of Srinagar tomorrow, demanding the arrest of Asiya Andrabi, not home arrest, but absolute arrest. We cannot afford to have an ISIS agent in our midst, can we? Mufti Nasir-ul-Islam, for once today, don't back the anti-national lobbies.
Arnab, I salute you for making beautiful story for your rating. You know that ISIS have no institutional background, neither in Kashmir nor in Pakistan. This is a fake story, and I'm shocked to hear this nonsense.
You see, if you want to live in denial, you can say so. right? But the facts are clear. The facts are as clear as they can be. Radicalized youth meet Asiya Andrabi. They travel to they are about to travel to Srinagar. 1 minute. Before I want your patronizing and condescending comments, let me tell you, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, is it just a coincidence?
No, I'm not.
Is it just a coincidence that Andrabi's name features? Is it just a coincidence that Andrabi's name features in the confession of potential ISIS recruits? Why does Andrabi's name feature in the confession of potential ISIS recruits? You tell me why. Because you're the one living in denial. You tell me why.
No. You know that they don't have the institutional background, neither in Kashmir nor in POK, Pakistan Kashmir.
You see, you're talking about, what do you mean by institutional background?
Absolutely.
What do you mean by institutional background?
They don't have. We recognize them as a terrorist group. We don't recognize them as freedom fighters.
So if there is somebody who's working for recruiting people for a terrorist group, what would you call that person? What adjective or word or phrase or definition would you use?
All have the consensus about ISIS that they don't represent Muslims. So it's not question
Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, you know Asiya Andrabi's background. You know fully well that all she does is for money. She can wave a Pakistani flag. If you ask her to wave a Syrian flag, she'll wave a Syrian flag. If you ask her to wave an ISIS flag, if you give her enough money, she'll do that. If you want to pay her a little bit more money, then she will do terror recruitment. You tell me, if she can address Hafiz Saeed's rallies. No, I'll open this up to debate. I find your position unreal tonight. If she can, I'm not maligning anyone. If Asiya Andrabi can address Hafiz Saeed's rallies, if you don't tell me what to do or not do, if Asiya Andrabi can address Hafiz Saeed's rallies, why should I not believe that she can be working towards recruiting terrorists for ISIS?
Somebody after Afzal Guru to gallows. You're the person, you don't want to see the reality. You don't want to see the reality. It is no surprise today for me actually, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti Nasir-ul-Islam. It is no surprise for me. Fake story made by government of India.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Mr. Mufti Nasir-ul-Islam, it is no surprise for me. It is no surprise to me that you are backing the anti-national Andrabi today, because it was your father Bashiruddin who, as the Grand Mufti, claimed that the government's attempts to resettle Kashmiri Pandits was a conspiracy. It was your father who, as Grand Mufti, said in June last year that Kashmir is not an integral part of India. He said so. It is no surprise to me that you're even backing Asiya Andrabi tonight. I'd like Sheshadri Chari to respond to you. I am pained at your approach today on this subject. At least today I thought you'd wake up. I'd like Sheshadri Chari to first respond to you. I'm sorry. I put the evidence out there. I'll put some more evidence now. Sheshadri Chari, please. Sheshadri Chari. This is the unreal approach that stops us from moving forward towards, yeah, please go ahead, Sheshadri Chari. Go ahead.
Whatever evidence that we have today, and whatever evidence that your correspondent from Jammu has filed now, saying that Andrabi had visited Hyderabad after the death of Simi leader, and she had actually met these three boys, and she was a recruiting agent of ISIS, is enough to get her arrested even before your show is over. I don't know why you are giving tomorrow morning deadline. I think she should have been arrested by now. And whatever the Kashmiri minister is saying, whoever he is, he says we will initiate a probe and judicial probe and all that is all nonsense. There is enough evidence. This is not a story. And your Mufti or Grand Mufti or not so Grand Mufti, whatever he is saying, he is absolutely bogus. Does he want us to believe that ISIS does not represent? We are not bothered whom they represent. They are not equivalent of Red Cross. They are not equivalent of Vatican. They are not equivalent of Vishwa Hindu Parishad. They are not equivalent of Hindu, Christian, Buddhist organization. They are a terrorist organization.
Hindu Vishwa Parishad is killing hundreds and thousands of the Muslims in India.
The fact that they do not have an organizational structure in India is the reason why they have recruited people like Andrabi to do their job. The moment they get their job done, it is going to be a serious matter, I would like to share the optimism of the Home Minister of this country, but I hope the police department and the intelligence agencies see this as more than a wake-up call. We are sitting on a volcano. We cannot dismiss this as an ordinary story. This is a fact that is confronting us, and it is a very dangerous fact. Therefore, let us not be fooled by these grand and not so grand muftis. They have no business to dabble when it comes to national integration.
Let him speak, Nasir-ul-Islam.
Sorry, I cannot accept this nonsense from such people. Sorry. Period.
Who is this? Who is this man?
And Nasir-ul-Islam,
Sheshadri Chari.
Nasir-ul-Islam, this is not just about the ISIS.
I represent the BJP.
I should tell you that Kashmir is not the integral part of India.
You don't have to tell me about Kashmir, Mr.
Nasir-ul-Islam.
You don't have to tell me about
Nasir-ul-Islam, you hold yourself back.
Kashmir belongs to me.
You can't sit there in Sri Lanka and talk such rubbish on the program.
Fact is,
don't talk rubbish as far as Kashmir is concerned.
You see,
you have to accept it as a reality.
This is exactly the problem.
What reality?
Sushil,
what reality you want me to accept? The reality that Andrabi visited Hyderabad, is it not a reality? The reality that these three boys wanted to go to Kashmir and then join the ISIS, is it not a reality? Is it not a reality that ISIS is a terror organization? What is not a reality? Please tell me.
Nasir-ul-Islam, if you listen to me, Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, you are sitting there. You see, Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, why don't you Deputy Grand Mufti, Assistant Grand Mufti, Associate Grand Mufti, and the Grand Mufti himself, why don't you go to Pakistan? Why don't you live and operate out of there? Why don't you sense what kind of freedom you are going to get there? Why don't you try and check out how much freedom the ISI will give you? You sit on our soil. You sit on our soil. You breathe the air of India. You experience the democracy of this country, and you come on the Newshour and talk such rubbish. Now, Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, you are nothing but a coward. You do not have the guts today to speak one word against your masters in Pakistan. Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, can you please tell the viewers of the program today about the human rights record of the Pakistani government and the Pakistani military in Pakistan Occupied Kashmir? And if it is so good, why are you scared of going there? Please go there. Please go there and live there. Relocate there. Relocate there, Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam. Relocate. Relocate to Pakistan, Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam. Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, relocate. Now, Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, you're not being serious, so I won't waste time with you. I will not waste time with you. Nasir-ul-Islam, let's go back to the subject, because otherwise I will not. Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, calm down. You're going to burst an artery on the program. Calm down, please. Calm down. I'm telling you to calm down, take a deep breath and behave yourself. Okay?
No. You're
not doing a sermon on the program. Behave yourself. Behave yourself. Behave yourself, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti. Behave yourself. And let me go back to the subject at hand. I don't want to waste time with you if this is the manner in which you are going to speak. And what's your language, please, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti? What's your language?
No, it's a wastage of time.
Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti. Now, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, the fact is this, please. Now we are going to go back to the subject at hand and not waste time on these kind of devious strategies of yours. Thank you, and I'm going to Sushil Pandit. I'm going to Sushil Pandit now. Mr. Sushil Pandit and Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, please hold yourself now for a minute. The point is this: the developments in Nagpur and Hyderabad today, Sushil Pandit, Sushant Sareen, and Abhijit Jasrotia, these are very serious issues. They have raised several serious questions. And those who are advocating separatism in Kashmir, including the likes of terror recruiters like Andrabi, have much to answer for. Some groups today will be very upset with Times Now that we have revealed the fact that she is actually a terror recruiting racket. Now, Sushil Pandit, tell me, if she says, I didn't know that these youth were going to go from POK to ISIS, will we spare her? If she is running a terror trafficking network by acting as a facilitator between these youth and the terror networks they seek to join, if she's all squeaky with regarding recruiting terrorists, why would those youth arrested in Nagpur name her, Sushil? Why would they name her?
Arnab, Asiya Andrabi is a regular offender. She's no stranger to controversies. In fact, she has a history sheet as a separatist. Last 23rd of March, she hosted a gathering in a room, hoisted a Pakistani flag, and celebrated the National Day by singing the Pakistani national anthem.
And what did we do?
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing. We kept asking for her arrest. We kept asking for a case to be instituted. Nothing was done. She barely 2 months back stood in front of cameras with a dagger dripping with the blood, exhorting the state of Jammu and Kashmir Muslims to slaughter cows this Eid. A grave provocation to disturb communal harmony. Nothing happened to her. Today, those who are charged with our security dismiss these issues as some stray boys actually getting brainwashed and losing their way, are playing this down. Will they wake up only if 1 crore people marching to a brass band go towards Syria? Is that the evidence of ISIS recruitment in India? Will then they take notice? Asiya Andrabi is the face of ISIS in India. Asiya Andrabi has seen to it that ISIS flags are waved every Friday from mosques in Srinagar. It is a regular event. And Grand Mufti is playing it down. Man of his religious stature is lying on national television without batting an eyelid. And then he talks about grand issues like freedom. This Grand Deputy or Deputy Grand Mufti, whatever he is, he forgets that he has cleansed an entire community from Kashmir. He should be ashamed. He should be apologizing for the human rights violations of lakhs of people.
For what?
For what? For murders, for rapes, for encroaching upon the property, for desecrating temples, for worst human rights violations in the name of the struggle.
Occupational forces have done. Yes,
what occupational? You are occupiers of Kashmir. You are illegal occupiers. You are foreigners in Kashmir.
No.
You carry out a foreign agenda. You are foreign agents in Kashmir. You are quislings. You are saboteurs. You have ruined that place. You have damaged the peace. You have completely ruined the future of that state.
An integral part of India. I'm saying it time and again. I have said this.
You don't know India. You don't know what integrity is. You have no business talking about it.
Mr. Mufti Sahab,
you are not. Sheshadri Chari also coming in now. Sheshadri Chari, please. Sheshadri Chari's turn. And I would request you, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti, that those seeking to join the ISIS are using Kashmir as a transit point before making their way to the Middle East. That there are middlemen. These recruits reach out to in Kashmir. Let me complete my point. Let me tell the viewers of the Newshour how serious the situation is. You should have the courage to listen tonight to the severity of the situation. Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, please wait, please. There are middlemen these recruits reach out to in Kashmir. Middlemen of the likes of Andrabi, if the confessions of 3 people arrested at Nagpur airport are to be believed. Now, why are you an advocate? Why are you being an advocate for Asiya Andrabi? Why are you being an advocate for Asiya Andrabi? Why are you being an advocate for Asiya Andrabi? Let me complete my point. Why are you heckling me? You let me complete my point. Let me complete my point.
I am saying that this is...
Anything is a contorted story that does not appeal to you. Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, please understand. Pakistan, especially POK. Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam, will you listen, please, Mr. Islam? Mr. Islam, understand, Pakistan, especially POK, is a possible recruitment point for these youth before they make their way to the Middle East. Separatists in Kashmir of the likes of Andrabi, I won't call her a separatist, I'll call her a mercenary. If the confessions are to be believed, act as conduits helping people cross the border and join the terror networks. If these confessions are to be believed, it only confirms the view that many people have had for a long time, that the so-called separatists are involved in the business of recruiting terrorists while presenting the veneer of a non-violent political movement that they pretend to propagate in Kashmir. That's a veneer. We've never believed in that veneer, Sushant Sareen, have we? We've always known that's a fraud. Behind that is an industry of terrorism that extends through Pakistan and now is willing to become the BPO for the ISIS in India. The time to act is now, Sushant Sareen, and yet we find that the PDP government will do precious little. The PDP-BJP government, if I may say so. Sushant Sareen.
You know, Arnab, there are 2 or 3 things I would like to say out here. I think one, if we want to put Asiya Andrabi, and Sushil is quite right on that, you know, she has a complete charge sheet against her, entire, you know, probably you can fill up volumes with it. So I don't think we need, like the Grand Mufti or the assistant or deputy or whatever Grand Mufti he is saying that this is a concocted story. You don't need to concoct story. I think
yes,
enough
it's a concocted story.
Any case for her to be thrown.
I'm myself a lawyer, I know.
Grand Mufti? Okay, of course, you're a very big lawyer. You're also a, you're a lot of things I don't want to mention on this channel, but
please don't malign. If you don't like us, don't malign us.
That this is a concocted story is utter nonsense, but I can expect this kind of nonsense from this guy. But I think the possibilities open up.
Only you are a learned man.
Are amazingly interesting because number one, of course, yeah, you're right. Now, the other thing is that the possibilities are, number one, and why this is an extremely worrying case is that this is the first time in almost 25 years that we see Kashmiri terrorists coming into mainland India and then trying to recruit Indian Muslims for their own nefarious ends. So I think this should be ringing warning bells in India, number one. Number two, the possibility is that unless, of course, Asiya Andrabi also has not seen an atlas, and of course these guys are probably more stupid than sinister, if they have not seen an atlas, the possibility then is that if these guys were to be spirited across the line of control, then either they were going to be sent into Afghanistan where there is an ISIS base, alternatively, is there a possibility that the Pakistanis or through the Pakistani establishment some of these guys were going to be airlifted into Iraq or Syria, because there is no other way of going out there. And
very nice story.
Fits into the possibility that the Pakistanis are using this whole ISIS threat to actually win some kind of acceptability for the Taliban. And a lot of countries, including of course the United States, the Chinese, the Russians, are falling for that ploy that, you know, ISIS is going to be the big threat in Afghanistan, so let's support the Taliban, although there's very little to choose between them. Now the Grand Mufti or whatever this guy is, he says that there is no base of these people out here. You know, the thing is that most of these groups have interlinkages with each other, they mutate, they morph into one another. So to say that Asiya Andrabi at one level preaches terrorism and separatism from India, but at another level she might, and given her Islamist background, she might be having links with groups like the Al-Qaeda and the ISIS, is not something which you can really write off. Also remember that a couple of months back, actually more than a year back, some of her relatives, very close relatives of hers in Rawalpindi, were caught in a conspiracy of terrorism which was linked with the Al-Qaeda. They were planning to bomb a couple of places, and these were people who were not riffraff. One of them was a professor, one of them was an engineer, so they were fairly well placed and well-to-do people, and they were arrested. Of course, the Pakistanis, for their own reasons, kind of then started putting a lid over that entire case, but those links were also very well established. For this guy to say that, you know, none of these guys have any linkages with these people, I think it's utter nonsense, because I wouldn't be surprised if he himself would be a closet supporter of ISIS. He comes on your channel and he says that they're not an Islamic organization, which is utter nonsense, because nobody can say that what they are doing and whatever barbarity they carry out, they actually use Islamic scriptures to justify it. Why don't these guys stand up against them? But how can this Grand Mufti do? Because as Sushil says, when his chance came, he and his ilk in Kashmir did precisely what the ISIS is doing in Syria. They did in Kashmir with the Kashmiri Pandits. So, you know, it's a classic case of this guy calling the pot, calling the kettle black. So, frankly, I'm not surprised with the kind of rants he makes.
Sushant, I want to see one of our panelists tonight, maybe Pirzada Mohd Amin Shah will give me a reasonable reply to a reasonable question. No, one minute. No, there is another person sitting next to you. I want to ask him a couple of questions. 1 second, my question is to Pirzada, please. Pirzada Mohd Amin Shah, please tell me, Pirzada Mohd Amin Shah, why did Asiya Andrabi go and have meetings with these radicalized groups in Hyderabad, which they were in touch with her for trying to get entry into POK? Why did she have these meetings in Hyderabad, in your view?
Mr. Arnab, kindly listen to me, give some minutes to, and with the patient.
Just what do you think? Why do you think she had these meetings in Hyderabad?
Listen, I will answer your question. So far this fairy tale, I think, is concerned. This is
no. Why did she have these meetings in Hyderabad? There's no fairy tale. Why did she have these meetings in Hyderabad? We have proof that she had these meetings. Why did she have these meetings?
This can.
Did she go for tourism to Hyderabad?
Either from Asiya Andrabi or those guys जहाँ उन्होंने meeting करी है, whether it is based on facts or not. Number one, number two. हमारी जो
नहीं, मगर क्या टूरिज्म करने गए थे वहाँ पे पिरजादा मोहम्मद अमीन शाह? क्या वो टूरिज्म करने गए थे? आप मुझे बताइए। आप मुझे आतंकवादियों को सपोर्ट करते हैं और उसके बाद आप कह रहे हैं कि बात मत सुनिए। आप मुझे दूसरा सवाल आपसे है, व्हाई डू यू थिंक शी एड्रेस्ड हफीज सईद रैली ऑन द फोन? व्हाई डू यू थिंक शी एड्रेस्ड हफीज सईद रैली ऑन द फोन? नो, व्हाई डू यू थिंक शी एड्रेस्ड हफीज सईद रैली ऑन द फोन?
एब्सोल्युटली जो आप कह रहे हैं, लेकिन ये आप उससे क्यों नहीं पूछते हैं? और दूसरी पहली बात को जो आपने मेरी काटी
नहीं, उससे मैं आपको पूछ रहा हूं क्योंकि आप तो उनको डिफेंड करने आए हैं ना। मैं तो आप उनको डिफेंड कर रहे हैं, आप फेरी टेल कह रहे हैं जब उनका अनब्रोकन नो 1 minute, just 1 minute, 1 minute. Is it a coincidence? Now answer my third question. Is it a coincidence that ISIS flags are waved on the streets of Srinagar after every Friday prayers at the Jama Masjid? Every Friday prayers at the Jama Masjid, and ISIS flags are waved on the streets of Srinagar, and now we have exposed the possible case of terror recruitment for ISIS in Kashmir. You don't think this is something to worry about? You don't think this is something to worry about?
मुझे कहने कुछ दे ही नहीं रहे हैं, आप उधर ही से डिबेट कर रहे हैं। अच्छा ये होता कि आप क्वेश्चन पोज करें और आई विल आंसर दैट क्वेश्चन। सो फॉर दिस आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जामिया मस्जिद में फलानी जगह ISIS का झंडा लहराया जा रहा है। आई बीइंग ए सिटीजन ऑफ कश्मीर, आई बीइंग
आपको इसके बारे में कोई आपको इसके बारे में यू हैव नो इन्फॉर्मेशन ऑन इट? You have no information on it. You haven't seen the pictures.
No.
You don't know what's happening on the streets of Srinagar.
But kindly give me time to answer you.
Who's waving those flags?
अगर आप
Who's waving those flags?
पहले मुझे ये बताइए, जो इतनी बड़ी सिक्योरिटी हमारी ये है, यहाँ एक आदमी के पीछे 10 आदमी लगे हुए हैं। अगर आप कहते हैं कि इतना बड़ा वहां हो गया, झंडा लहराया गया, बाकी चीज गया, तो उनको अरेस्ट क्यों नहीं किया गया? व्हाई यू आर पोजिंग दिस क्वेश्चन टू मी? व्हाई नॉट योर सिक्योरिटी?
ये तो अजीब, this is the most strange answer that you have given. You tell me, we have given you proof today. How many more Indian youth in your way have joined? No, I'm telling you, I don't want a single Indian youth to join the ISIS using the Kashmir route. How many more Indian youth have managed to establish contact with this person called Asiya Andrabi? How many have actually managed to cross the border and move on from there to the Middle East? You tell me, aren't you worried about it? Sheshadri Chari asking you a counter. Sheshadri Chari, please. Sheshadri Chari, please. Sheshadri Chari, please. Sheshadri Chari saying something. Go on, Sheshadri Chari.
Can I ask Mr. Pirzada a question?
Is it still a fairy tale that the same Asiya Andrabi has been found to be involved in getting money from ISI, and she
is
and her
involved?
husband,
why don't you arrest her?
she and her husband,
action against her.
both are involved
but you cannot
in money laundering.
From last
both are
1 year,
involved in money laundering.
एक साल से
And her husband was arrested for money laundering charges, and it was the same Asiya Andrabi, according to the US State Department report of 1995, she was involved in the parcel bombing of BBC office in Srinagar. She was part of the team that was seen planting parcel bomb on BBC office in Srinagar, and this is the published report of US State Department 1995. There are many more reports. She has not only that, she has openly challenged the security forces, and she has told Kashmiri youth to fight against the Indian security forces. She has also suggested when there was a peace process,
Asiya is no fairy.
Even an organization like Hurriyat was part of the peace process announced by Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 1999. It was the same Asiya Andrabi who called for international mercenaries to come and kill all the Hurriyat leaders. It was her. It is all there, evidence is there, her speeches are all available on video. All the ISIS flags that have been hoisted are all available. So I would request, Arnab, you have used two very good words, you have used two very good terminology. For the first time, you started calling Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam. Please stop calling him Mufti and Grand Mufti.
Kindly correct
he
your
doesn't
language
deserve
first.
These titles, number one. Number two, you have used a very correct word, mercenary. That is the word. She is an extension of the ISIS in India. Mr. Nasir-ul-Islam very rightly said that ISIS does not have an organizational outfit, institutional outfit in India. Asiya Andrabi is being used as an institutional outfit because remember, ISIS is losing battles. ISIS is losing ground. The entire world is against ISIS. Therefore, this is the right time that they will try and occupy some space in the Indian areas. Therefore, it is all the more important that our security agencies should take all this with a pinch of salt. They should impress upon the Home Minister and the state government, particularly, that all these people should be arrested immediately and then a probe can take place. What will happen if they suddenly slip out of our hands tomorrow and they vanish? We would not even know how many people have been recruited. We will not know how many people have crossed over the territories, and we will not even know what are their plans are as far as the Indian state is concerned. We could probably be having some more executions in India. We could be having some more recruitment in India. It's a serious matter. Therefore, even before they escape, they should be arrested forthwith immediately.
No, and what does Mr. Islam mean that they don't have any institutional presence? Should they register themselves in the registrar of companies, have a registered office somewhere in Delhi and start filing tax returns? Only then he will call them an institutional presence in India?
Or register with the Mufti?
I mean, how ridiculous can this be?
How do you know
what kind of institutional presence do you want?
You want more information on fairy tale? I can give you some more information as far as your fairy tale story is concerned. This is not a fairy tale.
Well, you know the fact, our job is, Mr. Islam. Mr. Islam.
After Afzal Guru, it's very good. Do it.
Come on,
Mr. Islam.
You don't have to.
Afzal deserved to hang, and Afzal was hanged for his crimes.
No.
Yes, he was
hanged only.
And I think the right thing was done. Anyway, Mr. Islam, you want to spread that venom on the program? You can try it elsewhere. This is the Newshour. This is not your, some terror propaganda factory. You please behave yourself when you come on the Newshour, Mr. Islam. Mr. Islam, when you come on the Newshour, behave yourself. This is not your terror propaganda factory. You're running out of Srinagar under the garb of religion. Now, Mr. Islam, listen to me. No religious position of yours will allow you, Mr. Islam, to spread venom on the program. First and foremost, please understand two things. Let me tell you very clearly. In cases of terror, you don't wait for the last shred of legal evidence to act. You act to prevent. First and foremost, and Abhijit Jasrotia should know it. It is a complete indictment of the Jammu and Kashmir government. It is an indictment of the Jammu and Kashmir government and its ineffective police that a person who heads an organization banned by the Ministry of Home Affairs.
150,000 people here. Indian occupational
You seem to be very comfortable, Mr. Deputy Grand Mufti. Don't, Mr. Grand Mufti, Mr. Mufti, I'm sure that you don't expect gratification from the Pakistani government or the ISI establishment that you have to speak like their spokesperson from the Newshour. My question is to Abhijit Jasrotia. Mr. Jasrotia, why can't you act against Asiya Andrabi? Mr. Jasrotia, why can't you act against Asiya Andrabi?
People of Kashmir.
Mr. Islam.
I am representing people of
I'm sure you do. You seem to be representing Rawalpindi tonight.
I have listened to everybody.
Abhijit Jasrotia. Abhijit Jasrotia. Listen to me. Listen. Abhijit. Abhijit. Please understand this. Today the Jammu and Kashmir government will be asked one question. Can I have Abhijit on one side, please, and Mr. Islam, will you not interrupt for a minute? It is an indictment of your government and your police. We know you are a pro-separatist government. That's a known fact. You are a pro-separatist government, right? Now, the fact is, a person who heads an organization banned by the Ministry of Home Affairs, called the Dukhtarane-Millat, and should be under the constant watch of authorities, has been revealed to be a possible conduit and a recruiting agent by those arrested in Nagpur. You can't wash your hands off what happened. Your laxity has been exposed. Please tell me, why don't you arrest Asiya Andrabi? Sheshadri Chari says after this kind of information, you shouldn't waste time and you should be arresting her tonight. What is your problem? You're scared of Asiya Andrabi or you're scared of the Pakistanis?
In case if you are prepared to take my answer.
Absolutely. The question was asked so that you could respond if you can.
No, I'm going to respond. Just give me a patience here for at least 2 minutes now. First and foremost of all, sometimes if you talk about my government as a pro-separatist government, then you say that my chief minister is a pro-Pak CM. Now I think at this particular time, when Mr. Narendra Modi has already built up a very good relation with Pakistan, and I think when at this time you are really short of words to say what my chief minister used to say, that we should have a very good relation with Pakistan, and that is what which is coming into.
I have described you as a pro-separatist party, and I continue to say so. You are a pro-separatist, pro-Pakistan separatist party.
Let me respond.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Let me respond to this question of this. Let me tell you one thing.
Answer the question. The question is, when will you arrest Asiya Andrabi?
Already.
Will you arrest Asiya Andrabi? Sheshadri Chari asked a counter question to you. Sheshadri Chari,
we are not asking the chief minister to arrest Pakistani prime minister. I think he didn't hear your question properly.
Chief minister is not, just listen to
you
me.
Ask him.
Listen to me. Our chief minister is not well.
We are not asking about the prime minister and Pakistan prime minister. We are asking about the
I wish the chief minister has speedy recovery. That's not the issue. One second. My question is, why don't you arrest Asiya Andrabi?
Will you have? I am telling you already.
Why don't you arrest Asiya Andrabi?
That the probe is on, in case if something will be found like that, then the stern action will be taken also. It is not.
What kind of a probe? No, what kind of a probe? No, I don't trust you.
Are you reading from a script?
I don't trust. The people of India won't trust you.
It is not
the people of India don't trust you.
That the action will be taken. Agencies.
The people of India don't trust you, Mr. Jasrotia.
Tell you one thing.
Mr. Jasrotia, we don't trust you. You're buying time on the program.
I was listening to everybody. I was listening to everybody today over here. Everybody was talking about these.
Mr. Jasrotia, I'm repeating myself. I am repeating myself. Mr. Jasrotia, this is not a choice of the Jammu and Kashmir government. This is a matter that involves national security, for God's sake. This is a matter that involves national security, Mr. Jasrotia. You do not have full independence in making the decision. This is not a local subject. This involves the sovereignty of this country. Mr. Jasrotia, the head of... No, Mr. Jasrotia, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to reason tonight.
He's getting radicalized. That is becoming a threat to this nation. And I think it becomes your duty also that we should show the right path to these recruits, these people who are getting allured by all these tactics.
That is the problem. Sushant Sareen, countering you. Sushant Sareen and Sushil Pandit. You see, Mr. Jasrotia, it is because of people like you, that the ISIS gets encouraged to try and build operations in India through people like Asiya Andrabi.
This is Lalit Ambardar. May I intervene, sir?
To talk all these things.
Mr. Jasrotia,
nobody is doing anything.
Phrase like threat to nation doesn't belong in your mouth.
Intervene.
Sushil
Mr.
Pandit.
Jasrotia, don't please use expressions like threat to nation.
Sir, this is
your
Lalit
government
Ambardar
has become a threat to this nation. Your government has become a serious threat to this nation.
How to bring this?
Your government is not able to maintain law and order.
You are here to.
Sir,
you are not here.
Your
to
government is not able to maintain peace.
You are not concerned about these radicalized youth. Sorry to say, Mr. Sushil Pandit, you are here to win a debate.
You are patronizing the radicalized youth. I accuse you of patronizing the radicalized youth.
You are motivating them.
Your government is turning a blind eye to radicalized youth.
ISIS, nobody will. If you will tell about them about the real side of ISIS, nobody will.
You are the forerunners of ISIS at this rate. You are facilitating an ISIS kind of environment in Kashmir by your sheer inaction, by turning a blind eye to what is happening, by winking and nudging at terrorist crimes. You are not prosecuting. Right under your nose today, Masarat Alam has been released. You must remember that. You are not able to keep terrorists in jail. You are not able to build a foolproof case against them.
Lalit Ambardar, one second, please. Sushil Pandit,
And now you
Sushil
can
Pandit,
see
now 1 minute. 1 minute. Sushil Pandit, Sushil Pandit. I think Abhijit Jasrotia, we should be, Abhijit, hold on. Abhijit, stop, and here's a question that goes from me to you, Abhijit. Abhijit Jasrotia, you are in government and you will have to answer some questions because the business of government is the business of accountability, and you will be accountable. You will not step aside and blame others.
True.
You are in government, Abhijit, and when you are in government, you are responsible to the people of this country and the people of your state, and therefore, please stop and listen to me. Listen to me. Your Deputy Chief Minister is not being convincing. Your Deputy Chief Minister is not being convincing. Your Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Abhijit, will you listen? Abhijit, can you listen? Now I'll get Lalit Ambardar, who is Lalit Ambardar on the other side, please, will respond to you, Abhijit. But
sir,
before I come to you,
yes, sir. May I, sir?
Lalit Ambardar wants to say something to you. Lalit Ambardar, yes, please, is an activist and he's joining us also on the program tonight. Go ahead, Lalit. Sir, what are you saying?
Sir, you may try very hard. It's a cozy nexus between so-called mainstream parties and the Kashmiri Islamists operating on the ground as well as underground. It's a very cozy nexus. You may try hard, you won't be able to break it. And it has evolved over a period of time when section of Indian media allowed those Islamists who deserve to be tried for crimes against humanity. They became sahibs in certain TV channels in operating from New Delhi. There was going to be very nexus. Let me come to the point of this ISIS and its Kashmir connection. Mr. Goswami, in the last 25 years, if you study all the jihadi terror strikes that have taken place across India, you can very easily trace their route to Afpak via Kashmir. It's not going to be difficult. The Islamic arc that rises from Middle East, Kashmir is the Himalayan end of that. Afpak continues to be the epicenter of India's specific Kashmir jihad, but it has already
5 minutes on the debate, Lalit. 5 minutes on the debate, Lalit, and now I need to. Lalit, 5 minutes on the debate. 5 minutes on the debate. One of India's most celebrated army officers, former corps commander, is with us on the phone line. I take your point. Lalit, 1 minute. Hold on, please. Now, we have a former corps commander, General Jaswal, one of the most respected army officers. He's been corps commander in Kashmir. He is very upset with something that the Deputy Grand Mufti said. And I have him live on the phone line. He wants to say something to you, Mr. Islam. Please listen to General Jaswal. General Jaswal, go ahead, please.
Thank
go ahead,
you.
General.
Not a corps commander, but an army commander.
Army commander, I'm very sorry, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, not at all. I'm totally appalled that the so-called Grand Mufti is saying, sitting on our soil, he's saying that Kashmir is not an integral part of India. Our constitution says...
Mr. Jaswal.
Just a second, please listen.
Let him speak. I said don't interrupt. Don't interrupt, General Jaswal.
We know how many people, please.
Just
Mr.
a second,
Jaswal, I would
please,
like
Mr.
to shed
Mufti.
Don't interrupt the general. Don't interrupt the general, or I'll reduce your volume.
Mr. Mufti,
Listen to him. General Jaswal has been
Mr.
waiting on the
Mufti,
phone line
don't
for some time.
hijack the
Please
issue.
show some respect, please. General, Mr. Deputy Grand
Not
Mufti or whatever. Listen to General
hijack
Jaswal.
the
Go ahead, General
issue.
Jaswal. Reduce the volume there.
As per our constitution, it says India is a union of states and union whose territory comprises of the unions and states were mentioned in Schedule 1. J&K is part of it. Schedule 1. Point 2.
No, absolutely.
The J&K, hold on, J&K Constitution,
wrong.
Chapter 1, Section 3 says, J&K is and will remain integral part of India. Section 143 of the J&K Constitution says that this cannot be amended to cater for any vociferous tendencies for people like you who are trying to say this. Point 3, which I would like to mention.
To behave like a general,
please,
not a legal.
I said don't speak.
No, please.
I said don't speak, Mr. Islam. Listen to it.
Allow me.
I know.
Sorry,
you are
I
not
do
aware
know
of
the
the fact
history of
that General Jaswal is educating you. You should say thank you for the education. Yes, please.
Point 3.
Please, quickly, please, General Jaswal, you can
Point
make your
3.
closing
Yeah,
point.
please. You see, what is more important is that 23 people have crossed.
50,000 people were killed in Kashmir.
They're not so. Anyway, point 3 is
Mr.
that
Please, yeah.
why is this epicenter of people trying to go to ISIS from Hyderabad and south? Why? This needs to be addressed. Because the first chapter went in 2003.
The fact is, but General Jaswal, if you watch the first part of our report, we also revealed that Asiya Andrabi had gone to Hyderabad. Asiya Andrabi had held these meetings. She was in touch with people who were part of ISIS or part of Simi. So you see, she is the one who's radicalizing the youth, and for that reason she needs to be arrested. My question to Abhijit, if you were to only show me the patience to listen, please, is Abhijit, please tell me, when Asiya Andrabi, in a brazen act of sedition, sang the Pakistani national anthem in August this year and flew the Pakistani flag, she was not booked for sedition. Why was she not booked for sedition?
Who says at that time also she was arrested? If you remember.
No, she was not.
She was not booked for sedition.
Don't lie.
She was not booked for sedition.
She was not arrested.
She was not booked for sedition. Sushil Pandit. Yes, Sushil, she was not booked for sedition. She was charged under the Unlawful Activities Act. Don't lie on television. She was charged under the Unlawful Activities Act. She was not arrested immediately. Correct yourself.
Please ask the BDP representative if she was detained there.
What do you mean, whatever the law is?
Guided by the law of the land. We cannot do something from our side only. We are guided
you want to tell us the law of the land?
What is he talking about?
So the law of the land says, Abhijit,
law of the land?
Abhijit, don't reveal your absolute ignorance on the news. Don't reveal your absolute ignorance on the news. She was not charged. I'll tell you what she was charged. She was charged under Section 13 of the Unlawful Activities Act. The government of Jammu and Kashmir, Sushil Pandit, 1 minute, diluted the provisions to be applied against refused. When someone hoists the Pakistani flag on our Independence Day, that person should be charged with sedition. You didn't do that. She addressed a Jamaat-ud Dawa LET rally that included Hafiz Saeed over the telephone. What action did you take against her? What action did you take against her then?
Yesterday.
I don't trust you tonight, Abhijit. I don't trust your government.
Given a call against,
I don't trust your government. You tell me what action you took against her when she addressed the Lashkar-e-Toiba rally.
Sir, it is quite apathetic.
When she addressed the Lashkar-e-Toiba rally, what action did you
has
take
become
against
an apologist for Asiya Andrabi. This is the last thing I expected of this government.
They call it onslaught of Indian culture in Kashmir.
Dangerous role by further radicalizing this youth, by entering into these all sort of...
What action did you take against her when she addressed a rally with Hafiz Saeed?
Oh no, that's
what action did you take against her?
That is a typical plea.
What action did you take against her?
I'll tell you one thing. let us stop this debate and let us try to understand one thing which is very real, and I will request
sir, what did they do to JK?
Don't tell me what they are supposed to understand. What we are supposed to understand is that we don't trust you.
To get radicalized. Let us show our people what is the real side of ISIS, so that they don't get motivated by all these things and don't plan to go and join ISIS over there.
Abhijit, remember, Abhijit Jasrotia, and I'm only saying something now if you calm down. And I now want to, I would like to say something to the viewers, so I don't want to be interrupted for a while. Can we just reduce the volume so I can say something as I close, please, Abhijit? Abhijit, just stop, please. Stop. No, it's not the common duty of everybody. It's your duty. It's your duty.
Stop these motherhoods. Stop preaching on the television.
Do not speak like an apologist for the terrorists, please. You are a party in government. Don't speak like an apologist for the terrorists. Reduce the volume, please. And can I say one thing now? Abhijit Jasrotia, you don't know the facts. You don't know the law. You are not even willing to accept that you did not book up for sedition. We, the people of India, don't trust you. We don't trust you. We can't trust you on issues that concern the integrity and sovereignty of the Indian state. We don't trust you to act against Asiya Andrabi. And I think the time is now for the central government to intervene, because this Jammu and Kashmir government, whatever political cocktail has led to its emergence, has no courage or will to act against people like Asiya Andrabi. Should she be arrested? I put this question to you, the viewer. Tell us what you think. We'll be breaking more on this story tomorrow. Thank you for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight.